Good morning, beautiful people. I am dropping in a day late with my Cassia musings, but welcome to Arise with Jessica Carey. I'm so excited to share with you my musings on Cassia this week. And this beautiful spicy aroma of Cassia is it's very spicy, it's very warming, it's very uplifting. And when I smell this aroma, it just brings warmth to my soul and warmth to my body. So how I've been using it this week is I've been, similar to cardamom, I was using it in my chai teas. So my chai tea or my chai lattes, adding it to enhance turmeric lattes and things like that, just to give that extra spice and that extra hit. So I've loved adding it in my food and beverages as a flavor enhancer. I like adding it to banana bread in a replacement of cinnamon, and any types of cakes that have that spicy scent that you want to just enhance as well. So I found that really, really beautiful. Even in something like, like the creamy cheese, if you're doing something on a banana bread or something that needs just a bit of a warming, strong, spicy tone. So that's the first thing that I've used this beautiful Cassia for. And on an emotional and energetic level, gorgeous Cassia is the oil of self-belief. And I have been diving into that this week because I think it's really important, and it's something that I have witnessed for a very long time, since I was a little girl within society, especially I guess within the culture I've grown up in within Australia. So self-belief, what is that? What do we define as self-belief? And it's something that I witnessed so greatly in our society, this tall poppy syndrome of not celebrating others when they're doing well or when they're successful, or whatever their idea of success is. And I noticed it compared to a lot of other cultures because of my travels and the different people I've met, and also just the confidence within different cultures of who they are and in their truth. And what I witness a lot within our Australian culture is not a lot of celebration of other people, which can cause a lot of lack of self-belief within individuals. And what I also notice is there seems to be an installed conditioning since young to not believe in yourself, in a way that it's almost taboo to actually back yourself. And the reason I want to feel and dive into this is because I've been one of those people. I have been one of those people who haven't believed in myself in certain times in my life, or haven't trusted my own decisions or my own choices. And it's really interesting witnessing how you grow and how you build on that self-belief and that self-empowerment. So the Cassia is something I actually use for my solar plexus chakra. And what I love about it is, and what's really important with using this oil topically on the skin, is making sure you're using a carrier oil. Cassia is really, really, really strong, and it is known as a hot oil. So it's very important to dilute when you're using this oil. So whether that's with the doTERRA fractionated coconut, whether that's with a sweet almond or a jojoba, or any type of carrier oil where you can dilute the potency of these oils, especially for Cassia applied topically. So what I use is I actually mix some Cassia, which is the oil of self-belief or self-assurance, self-belief. And I mix it with bergamot, which is the oil of self-acceptance, and ginger, which is the oil of empowerment. So you can see how those three apply to the solar plexus and rubbed on in a clockwise motion is really important in building that self-belief. You've got that self-assurance, you've got the self-acceptance, and you've got the self-empowerment all in one. So I believe the solar plexus chakra, which is our power center, which is the color yellow is associated with this chakra. And if you don't know what a chakra is, it's a spinning vortex of energy. So we are all energy, and we also have energy systems within our body, and we also have these beautiful systems called chakras. There's many more than the 7, but we have 7, and one of them, mainly in our power center, in the center of our body, our stomach, our where we feel things like nerves and anxiety and all different types of things is very, very important. And, you know, life growing up can be quite difficult for many people when it comes to believing in yourself or knowing yourself well, that you feel centered in your own being. And I've witnessed, and including myself, I've witnessed people being torn down and then watching their body language as it shuts off when they feel torn apart by someone, or even being our own harshest critics, tearing ourselves down and not having our own self-assurance and our own self-belief. And I think it's just so important in society to firstly, to back yourself, to believe in yourself. I'm getting emotional because it's something I've worked extremely hard at cultivating within myself, is self-belief. I was torn down a lot in my life, and what I found that did to me is it actually affected my belief in self, and it took a lot of work on knowing myself and rebuilding on those wounds to actually just back myself 100% no matter what, and knowing what choices I was making were the best for me. Because I find when we're unbalanced in that space, we struggle to make decisions, or we struggle to make choices, or we just don't make one, or we suppress things, or you just don't move forward in a way that is just fully owning and backing the incredible being that you are. So what I love about this oil is it brings forth confidence. It brings forth just this deep inner knowing that, you know, we've got this. And knowing how to hold yourself in that space to restore confidence that's been lost is so vital in this world, especially with things like social media, especially with things that happen in life, and especially with all the bullying that's going on online or in person, but especially online these days. But there was many instances, and not many people know this, but I had a lot of tearing down at school, and for quite a while I actually let that affect me, and I let that affect who I was as a person, and my relationships with women. I really struggled to connect with women. I was friends with a really beautiful group of men, and I adore and love them so much. They've been a massive part of my life. But I also lost touch of my connections with women, and that was really difficult because it's really important that women feel backed and supported and loved by each other. It's very important to cultivate the connection with women. And mine was tainted from primary school. Like all through school, I never really had many female friendships, and the ones I did kind of start getting, it ended up in, you know, a lot of tearing down and a lot of emotions and energies like jealousy. And at the time I didn't see it like that. At the time I just didn't understand why other people would do this to one another. And it also kept cultivating in my sporting life. Like I played quite a high level of touch football, and I had some girls on my team that intentionally used to tear me apart at trainings every single week. And even when I went to Fiji, the same thing happened. And what actually happened is one of those women actually come up and apologized to me a couple of years later, and that took guts. That took guts of what they did to me at the time. And what I'm trying to say is, you know, don't allow somebody else's words or somebody else's actions to affect your own self-belief and your own self-assurance, because it is so vital to know and honor and love and be deeply connected to that part of you, that you know when to say no, you know when to say yes, and you know how to stand in your truth. It's just something I'm so passionate about, which is why I share these oils, because they've given me a tool to support myself and to support my own self-belief and to support my own self-confidence in who I am as a human being, but how I can also serve people, how I can also support people. It's yeah, it's just so vital, and particularly women. Like, I had a beautiful sister circle last night with a group of women, and I just felt home. And I never thought I'd say that, but I have some of the most incredible female connections now, and that's something I actually never thought I would have. I never thought I would have beautiful, just authentic, incredible female connections that I have right now, with how my childhood and my high school years were like with women. I just didn't think I would have that. And I truly hope every person on the planet and every woman feels that connection with one another, because it is so nourishing for the soul. But I also believe that that is attracted to you when you truly and completely and deeply believe in yourself and have that level of self-assurance and love. So what I do is I apply Cassia, especially in times where I'm doubting who I am or doubting myself, which I see more prominent in women in society. Maybe that's just because that's who I'm around right now, is a lot of women. But a drop of Cassia, a drop of ginger, and a drop of bergamot with some fractionated coconut oil applied on the solar plexus, taking some big deep breaths to support shifting out any stuck energy in that space. So that I found that's a really, really potent and powerful way to use this oil. And I really, really, really love it. I feel it's really important too within that space is it's just worthiness. Like, how many of us as men and women don't think we're worthy of deserving the life we truly are, or the life we desire? And we stay stuck in this fear. Fear gets stuck, and all this anxious feelings and different things get stuck in the solar plexus. And I particularly notice it within myself, my own self-critic. And I know a lot of women would resonate with this, and even men, they would witness it within their partners as well, which is something I'm going to be sharing a lot more of in the coming months. But our ability to connect to our moon cycle or our menstrual cycle is deeply vital for women. And what I've noticed is within my cycle in particular, the week before I start to bleed, so premenstrual phase, that week is when most people would say, oh, you know, PMS, or they get cranky or they overreact. And what I want to say is that time is when most of our hormones have diminished, and all the things that we ignored or suppressed or put down for the few weeks before, when we were in quite a, you know, we'd brush it off. That week is when everything arises that we haven't dealt with. Everything that arises of the self-talk, the self-critic, the putting down of self. And men, you may notice that it's very easy to set a woman off in that week before. And by knowing where your partner is at in her cycle is deeply important. But also as women, like connecting back to that is the essence of who we are. This is how we create life. And it's really important to know how your body changes, even just like when we emotional eat, we generally emotional eat in that week as well. So cutting yourself some slack and being really gentle with your own heart is really important. And I found using these oils like Cassia and the bergamot and the ginger in, hello darling Emily, mwah. Especially during that week when you're premenstrual on your tummy, is really supportive at creating a dialogue that is more self-belief and not self-limiting, and is not self-sabotage, because that's when that week happens. So that's when those emotions and a lot of that comes up. So I'm going to be doing some more videos on this at a later date, but I just wanted to touch base on that. So if any men are going to watch this video, you know, ask your partner some questions about how she feels during that time, and do some things to love and nourish her, like lift her up. And women, like, grab some affirmations and find some things where you can find some more ways that is going to bring some self-assurance and some self-love back into your heart when that dialect diet in your mind comes in of I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy enough, or I'm not loved. Like, we are always loved. We are always held by everything in the universe. But also, first and foremost, we need to be loved and deeply held by ourselves. And yeah, self-belief and self-assurance is just so important in that space. So let's discover our own innate gifts and really tap into the potency and the uniqueness and the medicine that makes you you, and just bring it forth into the world. So that is how I have anchored into the beautiful Cassia this week, and I've loved exploring her benefits. I am really, really touched what's come through about this oil, and I'm always amazed with what comes through on these videos to share. So I would love to know how you use Cassia oil, if you use it, and how you've tapped or anchored into the essence of Cassia as well. And I just love it because it's very warming. Popping it in the diffuser, it really creates a nice warming aroma, so especially in winter, coming into these cool autumn months. It's really beautiful diffused with any type of warming oils. I love it with even just some On Guard, or you can soften it with something. What else do I like to mix it with? I just really like it because it makes me feel really sure of myself. It makes me feel really bold. And I think that's really important in life. And, you know, don't suppress your boldness. Don't suppress your gifts and your talents and your smile and whatever that lights you up, because the world needs more people who are just so sure of who they are and so connected to that. And yeah, I just love it. So just got a little note here of what oils is really lovely to blend it with. So yeah, I like blending Cassia in a diffuser blend with like a fir oil. So your Douglas fir, your white fir, or your Siberian fir. I really like Siberian fir with it. And even like a little bit of citrus. So popping it with some wild orange or some tangerine. Something like that. But then again, on the solar plexus, I use it with the bergamot and the ginger, all self-belief oils, self-empowerment, self-belief. So I hope that supports you in tuning into the essence of Cassia this week, and I look forward to sharing next week with you about cedarwood. So I'm really excited about that one. But if you want to know more about Cassia, I've shared quite a lot this week on my Rise with Jessica Carey page about the emotional, the energetics, the physical, and a few sciencey things as well on Cassia oil. So please check that out. Please share this video if you feel it would support anyone. And I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next week for cedarwood. Mwah! Happy Saturday.